Greetings. My name is Mikhail and I'm a faculty member at Arizona State University. What is the value of LCA and where does it end? These are questions that I've thought about for years. LCA has transformed how we understand transportation systems, their deep connections to everything. Yet is LCA the right framework and tools for today? How about the future? Let me come back to these questions. Here we are in 2021, and evidence appears to be amassing that the future is not going to be like the past, that the thinking that we've used in the past for predicting and analyzing may be increasingly at odds with an accelerating, increasingly uncertain, increasingly volatile, and together, increasingly complex world. What do I mean by complexity? Complexity to me is emergent characteristics of our transportation systems that are no longer predictable. Complexity is a result of many things, but here we can think of it as resulting from increasing volatility, increasing uncertainty, and accelerating conditions. When we think about infrastructure writ large, they're at the center of a number of destabilizing conditions, as shown in this figure. Emerging and disruptive technologies appear to be rapidly integrating into legacy systems, for example, EVs. Financing for rehabilitation and modernization seems uncertain. Social and cultural change is happening, often associated with digital technologies. We're accelerating the integration of information as cyber technologies into legacy systems. Environment and climate systems are destabilizing, and political decision-making around infrastructure is poised to be held hostage by increasing polarization. Taken together, I would argue that the landscapes in which our transportation systems must function are becoming increasingly complex. Infrastructure and vehicles rapidly integrating cyber technologies, for example. Vehicles, infrastructure, and energy systems appear to be rapidly converging. Connected infrastructure and technologies are rapidly creating new capabilities. We appear to be on the edge of major decentralization of control. For example, Tesla vehicles or electric vehicles in general are essentially vehicle energy systems. And when you think about, for example, Amazon drone delivery service, we're talking about new infrastructure that is disconnected and managed separately from our existing transportation infrastructure. Extreme climate-related events, as well as cyber attacks, appear poised to more frequently disrupt normal conditions. This landscape is about rapid change and disruption. Where does LCA fit into this? Transportation LCA has been developed around systems that are largely rigid, that is, infrastructure and technologies that have long lifetimes enabled by governance structures that emphasize services with long-lasting commitments. This rigidity appears increasingly at odds with rapidly changing landscapes in the future. To thrive in the future, transportation systems will need to be agile and flexible. They will need to be able to respond to rapidly changing conditions and chaos. They will need to focus on the ability to pivot as environments and demands change. They will need to manage information and the security issues that result from connected systems. They'll need to not simply hold the environment back, but at times let it in and plan for failure. Fundamentally, they'll need to generate knowledge differently than they have for decades. Are these the domains of LCA? Does LCA fail at the complex? LCA in many ways reduces away complexity. This can be okay where certainty exists, or it can be characterized. But in the future, uncertainty will reign. And not just any uncertainty, but deep uncertainty, where future states may be difficult to perceive, let alone quantify. Approaches like consequential LCA, meant to capture future changes, are likely to be of limited value as the system writ large becomes more fluid, unpredictable, and controlled by a large array of players, where interconnections are deep and unclear, and emergent behaviors are unpredictable. LCA will always be valuable for elucidating the existence of relationships between subsystems and avoiding burden shifting, but I would argue that fundamentally different frameworks will be needed that embrace deep uncertainty and the unpredictability of emerging characteristics of systems to meaningfully steer energy and environmental policy into the future. Thank you.